Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to welcome those of you that have been longtime supporters of Second Chance Center, and for those that will get to know us a little bit better today. I am Regina Edmondson, the Director of Development for Second Chance Center, and it's my pleasure to kick off our event today. At this time, I would like to welcome the Board Chair of Second Chance Center, Mr. David Owen, Jr. David is a Navy veteran and a criminal defense attorney. He represents his clients with passion and vigor, always respecting the client's dignity and individuality. As chair of the board for SCC, he is focused on advancing the goals of Second Chance Center to help men and women who have recently been released from incarceration obtain the skills and resources needed to avoid a return to prison. Please join me in welcoming David Owen.
My name is David Owen, and on behalf of Second Chance Center, it is my privilege and my pleasure to welcome you here today. The theme of this luncheon is Illuminating Difference. It speaks not only to the staff of Second Chance Center, but to the founder and executive director, Hassan Latif. You will hear more from Hassan later on. Second Chance Center is a national model for the reduction of recidivism by individuals coming out of prison. At this time, I'd like to welcome Colorado's Attorney General, Phil Weiser. He has been dedicated to the law and has made it his life's work. He is at the forefront of the criminal justice reform in Colorado. So at this time, I welcome you, Attorney General Phil Weiser.
One of the great Colorado success stories is the Second Chance Center. Hassan Latif is a hero. He's someone who saw a challenge and he didn't shirk from it. He founded a program committed to opportunity, to giving people a second chance. And what we need to recognize as Coloradans is that when people leave prison, one of two things can happen. They can rebuild a life for themselves, or they can fail to do so and end up back in prison. And unfortunately, that second scenario happens about half the time within 3 years, but not for those who find the Second Chance Center. The Second Chance Center, less than 10% of people end up stumbling and finding themselves back in the criminal justice system. That's an extraordinary success rate. And that means that people are rebuilding their lives. And that means that we're not seeing additional crimes happening and the threats to public safety. We in Colorado, we're fortunate to have Hassan's leadership. We're fortunate to have the Second Chance Center as a model that really is a beacon for how we can work together to address this critical issue. And during COVID-19, we have to recognize a range of additional reasons why effective reentry matters, because there are people in prison who are potentially exposed to COVID-19, meaning we need fewer people in prison to address the risk of this pandemic. And what the Second Chance Center does is provides a safe, sound, and smart way to enable people to re-enter the community. So I'm excited to work with them, to learn from them, and to make it a priority for us as Colorado to lead in effective re-entry. And we're fortunate to have such a model that shows us the way. And so Hassan, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for persisting in this work. Thank you for helping to guide us and encourage us all to do better. Our state, our nation is better because of your service. It's an honor to work with you all. Thank you for your engagement.
Thank you, Attorney General Phil Weiser.
At this time, I would like to introduce Ebonii Moore. Ebonii Moore is the Vice Chair of the Board of Directors for the Second Chance Center. Ebonii is the Executive Marketing Advisor for the Colorado Department of Human Services and was the founder of the Brand Therapy Team, a boutique brand development agency. Ebonii is currently pursuing a graduate degree in Executive Healthcare Administration at the University of Colorado Denver Business School. In her free time, she can be found volunteering her time through nonprofit work that focuses on maximizing the lives of our most vulnerable community members. As a mother of two boys, she is determined that they see her engaged in community, collaboration, and connecting community. Community is at the heart of everything she does. Please welcome Ebonii Moore.
Hi, everyone. I am Ebonii Moore, Vice Chair of Second Chance Center Board of Directors. Today will be an online experience you will not forget. We will show you what difference looks like. From the different approach Second Chance Center takes to reduce recidivism, we currently have a less than 10% rate of recidivism, while the statewide number is 49%. The difference in dynamics in relationship to clients and staff providing an inclusive environment versus the standard provider-recipient power of dynamic. Our aim is to partner with clients, embracing partnerships from the Department of Corrections, Latino Coalition, We Don't Waste, Work Options for Women, Aurora Mental Health Center, and many other community and faith-based organizations. The start of Second Chance Center looks different than any other organization I am familiar with. The Second Chance Center was founded in 2012 by Hassan Latif, who had been released from the Colorado Department of Corrections. After serving 18 years of incarceration, he began working in the reentry field and was very aware of the repeating cycle of recidivism. Fueled by hope, passion, and a desire for change, he launched the Second Chance Center with nothing but a box of files in the backseat of his car. Today, Second Chance Center is the largest, most effective reentry program in Colorado with a staff of 27, serving thousands of clients year over year, providing basic needs, care management, job preparation and placement, training and certification, mental health care, and housing. I could go on, but I don't want to wait any longer to introduce you all to the Executive Director of Second Chance Center, Mr. Hassan Latif.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hassan Latif, and I'm Executive Director of Second Chance Center. I want to thank you all for joining us for this amazing online experience. It's a first for me, and so I'm a little nervous. Give me a minute to settle into this thing. So, I'd like to start for those who may not be as familiar with the history of Second Chance Center as others are. We've been operating now, it'll be 9 years in February. And the first year was, like most of you know, was a mobile unit in my car. But since then, we've been blessed with tremendous growth. We're a staff now of 27. And we found a way over these years to increase our capacity to serve our clients, to increase our program offerings, but it's always been a challenge. It seems like the more our capacity increases, the more need shows up. Currently, I'm proud to say, the preeminent reentry agency in the state of Colorado. What we think is different about how we function is how we started. When I parked the car, the first two people I brought on was Sean Ashi Taylor, our deputy director, and Adam Abdullah, our mentoring coordinator. Cumulatively, we had 75 years of incarceration time, so quite naturally, people were wondering, what are these guys up to? We had an idea about what difference looked like, and we also felt like anything that had to do with us needed to involve us, and we really committed ourselves to trying to make adjustments in the reentry process that better served our clients and our community as a whole. So very proud of the fact that over the last 7 years, we've maintained a recidivism rate of under 10% at Second Chance Center. And even with COVID and the challenges that's presented to us over the last 9 months, we've still been able to maintain that level of success on the part of our clients. And it's due to them. It's due to them being willing to try things that many had never tried before, and to trust a process that was very unfamiliar to some, but one that we knew and we felt assured would result in people having better outcomes. And we're very proud of our folks and all their efforts over the course of these years. And when we tell them that the better they do, the better we're going to do, this is not just something we say. This is the actual formula, because when we point to their successes, they lead to the next opportunity for Second Chance Center. I think the biggest difference, and the one that we try to illuminate in all of our efforts, is that we reject the provider-recipient power dynamic that comes with so many providing services to the community. Instead, we choose to partner with our folks. And this is very important, seeing as though many of our clients have felt apart from as opposed to a part of most of their lives, and sometimes in the families we were raised in. So people feel very much a part of Second Chance Center, and any success that they see represented by this agency, we want them to know that this is a result of their efforts. And so we're very proud and thankful for our folks putting in the work. I'd like to introduce you to one of those. This is a gentleman who came to us about a year and a half ago after serving 21 years of incarceration in the state of Colorado. Chris Cox is his name, an amazing man, one who, even as a client, was around with every spare hour that he had, asking what he could do to help, to give back. He's our maintenance supervisor and a man of all means. And when we have a need, we call on Chris, and usually he's there to fulfill that. He's just that kind of guy. We're very proud of him. In fact, Chris just signed on his first home this past week. So kudos to you. And I'd like to introduce you all to him now. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Cox.
Thank you for the introduction, Hassan. I came to Second Chance Center after being released from prison. It was my second time in prison. I did 3 months shy of 20 years the second time, 7.5 years the first time, with a brief period of 3.5 years of freedom. I came into Second Chance Center after being told that if I came down and did some community service, I could receive a bicycle, which is very important. To very quickly learned that there was so much more to Second Chance Center than just bicycles. You know, there was help with my particular circumstances. I wasn't allowed on a computer. So doing a resume, sending out emails for job online, applying online for jobs, it was all very hard to do. Here I was able to do that. I was able to sit down with the care manager. That was very important. Then being able to work on a resume, having a care manager sit there and say, okay, this is what we can do. We can help you get signed up here. That was tremendous. All this time, the first week or so I'm out, I have parole telling me, well, you have to go over here, you have to go over here, you have to be here on this day. I'd ride my bicycle back down here, and I came in one day really frustrated at numerous appointments I had to do that day, and one of the care managers looked at me and told me straight up, she nailed it right on the head. She said, "You're ready to go back to prison, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I am ready to go back." And she talked me through that little moment of crisis, and luckily for me, shortly afterwards, as I was volunteering to do stuff, you know, I'd fix a sink, you know, or I'd work on this little thing. I found out that Second Chance Center actually needed a maintenance person here, so I started out here working on maintenance. When people are struggling to survive, to meet the basic needs, you know, every little thing is very vital and very important. And as people come into Second Chance Center and get that little thing that may help them out, deposit for an apartment. I mean, anybody that's started off from nothing knows that that's huge. I know one guy who walked in here, 35 years in prison, scared. You could see it on his face. So many people come out of DOC and they don't know anybody. They don't trust anybody. They're ready to go back to prison. I can definitely relate to that one. And they come in the front door of Second Chance Center. They see that one person they know. They meet that one person they can trust. They find that one little tiny thing that gets them through the day. It's those needs, however small. I mean, sometimes the simple price of a bus ticket may be what keeps a guy out of prison. being able to walk in the door, talk to a care manager on the day that they're ready to go back to prison. They walk in and set their duffel bag back, and they're like, I left everything at the house because I don't care. I'm going back to prison today. Maybe they run into that person here that convinces them they don't need to go back to prison, that's able to provide that thing that they need. As I continued here at Second Chance Center, I got to meet a lot of people, some of the best people in the world. Meeting those people is a privilege, and it's an honor. Getting to talk to some of the people, talking to the people about Second Chance Center. I've watched staff here accomplish great things, mentoring, being able to talk to people. We encourage people. That's what kept me out, talking to somebody that could relate to me, even though that person that could relate to me had never been in prison or jail. She recognized it. She dealt with it enough. You come in here, Second Chance Center, you see a lot of love, you see a lot of compassion. Some days you see a lot of fear. Some days you see a lot of fear that's alleviated when they walk through the front doors and they talk to somebody. That's one of the coolest things, when you see somebody walk in and scared of what's out here, and they walk out of here completely different mindset. They know that there's a future for them, that there's a hope for them, that they have somebody willing to show them a little bit of love and compassion. That's huge for a lot of people. Myself, I've got a lot of love and a lot of inspiration out of this program. During our mentoring, having those people there to counsel, to guide, when you got people that will instill in you that you can succeed in life and help you get to the mindset of that's what you want to do. You don't want to go hang out with your old friends on the corner or nothing. You've seen what you can accomplish. It's been awakened in you what you can accomplish. And you've got somebody that'll walk with you as you accomplish it. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris, for sharing part of your story and telling a little bit about how we help people here at Second Chance Center. My name is Justin Larson. I'm a care manager and the program development manager here. And before that, I was in prison, and before that, things were pretty terrible. One of the things that's always impressed me about Second Chance Center is that Second Chance Center is never satisfied with the idea of good enough, right? It would be easy to look at our recidivism rate and say, hey, we're doing significantly better than the state average, the national average, than other organizations doing this sort of work. But that's not enough. So often it's an absence of the emotional connection, of a sense of belonging, of purpose, that can leave a person finding themselves unable to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish in order to reintegrate successfully. Second Chance Center aims to address a lot of these issues through a deeper, more emotional connection. I think that a great example of Second Chance Center's elevated approach to these sorts of things is the way we run our computer skills class. It's an obvious need. Person gets out of prison, they may need a refresher on how to use the internet, how to use a computer, if they've ever used the internet or a computer before, that is. I mean, smartphone technology is so ubiquitous, we take it for granted these days, but you don't have to have been locked up for very long for that to be brand new. I mean, I am not that old, and I had never had a smartphone until I got out of prison, and my niece showed me how to use it, which was delightfully humbling. But the way we approach the computer skills here is so much more than just, here's home row, this is a cursor. This is how you compose an email, and this is what Google is. Because these aren't the things that are going to cause a person problems when they get out of prison and they're trying to use the internet. The pitfalls online, and this is our response to a need we saw, where we saw people getting in, to uncomfortable situations with this, are what's it like to reconnect with somebody on Facebook you haven't seen since before you went to prison? How, is this a real offer? Are these real people I'm talking to? And it can be so easy to take these sorts of things for granted. But these are the needs that actually need to be addressed with using computer technology these days. And that's where Second Chance Center expands our services. And frankly, this is part of the reason that we need your help. Because, like I said, we're never one to just rest on our laurels. We're not satisfied with the current state of things. And if you take a look at the state of corrections and release, there's no reason to be satisfied at all. So Second Chance Center, when we find a need, we approach it in a, how can we help alleviate this need? How can we make things better? How can we partner with our participants to make that into a reality for them? That partnering works on several levels. We have one-on-one relationships with our participants where we're talking to them, we're getting feedback, and we're like, hey, what's been the hardest part of this? And what didn't work for you? And where are we just falling short? And we listen. And then we examine larger data trends and we notice what's actually sending people back to prison. And we work to create new ways to address these things. To that end, Second Chance Center offers an acupuncture group, a moral recognition therapy group, dialectical behavioral therapy group, one-on-one individual counseling, substance abuse counseling, support and process group for men, an art group for women, and regular group and individual mentoring coming from people who have been there. One of the things I love to tell people is, hey, I'm not particularly smart, I'm not special. I've just been out longer and I've learned a few things and I didn't go back. And that's the sort of thing we can tell people. And that's the sort of thing that we infuse into every approach we take to this work. All of these services and programs help to address what I believe is the single biggest reason people go back to prison, which is an absence of a sense of belonging, right? It's so much easier, and I say this from my own personal experience, it's so much easier to not take into account other people's feelings, property, anything really, when you don't feel like you really belong to society in the first place, right? Like signing the social contract requires some sort of society that wants you to be there. And Second Chance Center, we offer that. You know, for some people, it may be that a hug and a pair of boots are what it takes. That's going to make the difference. But for others, it's a much more involved process. Because the truth is that prison is a major trauma. You know, we're not designed to survive in cages. And so when you get out of prison, there's frequently a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on. And that's not even taking into account the sorts of things that happen in people's lives before they go to prison. A lot of that is alleviated knowing that somewhere someone cares about you. And Second Chance Center does that in spades. And because recidivism has not yet hit zero, we're still not satisfied with the work we're doing. And that's why we need your help. Because there are going to be new issues that come up and new trends that we see that, frankly, are not being met anywhere. And it's going to take addressing every single one of these issues for this work to finally be done. And in the meantime, we're here in the trenches doing the work. And you can do a lot by just donating a little bit to what we're doing here. I really appreciate your time today. I'm going to pass it back over to Hassan, and we have some excellent speakers heading up, so please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
This next gentleman I want to introduce you to, his name is Abron Mustafa Arrington. This is a gentleman that I love dearly. I spent 10 years of my 18 years of incarceration here in the state of Colorado I spent with this man. He went to prison for a crime that I know he did not commit. And over these years, almost 15 years I've been home now, there was always this empty spot in this open wound about Mustafa because I left him there. And with all the developments in my personal and professional life, there was still nothing I could see to do to help Mustafa regain his freedom. I wrote a letter to Governor Hickenlooper in 2012 pleading for clemency on his behalf. The letter was not answered. And so over the years, he would always write my wife and I. And at times I would let his letters sit on the foot of the bed for 2 or 3 days. It pained me to open another letter from him from the penitentiary. Not that he was ever complaining, he never did. It just hurt that he was still inside. And so when Governor Polis was elected as governor, my wife and I were invited to the residence. And I met him that night. It didn't seem like the perfect timing to say, hey, Governor, let me holler at you about my boy. So I resisted. And over the course of last year, there was several opportunities I had to be around Governor Polis, including when he came to Second Chance Center in June of 2019 to sign 9 pieces of legislation into law. Still, it never felt right to talk to him about a personal issue and about a personal friend. But after a while, I started feeling as I was betraying my friend. Like, you've been around the governor and you've not even mentioned his name. And that hurt and sickened me as well. But it just never felt right. And in October of last year, 2019, I got a call from the governor's office, and his assistant told me that he was interested in my considering a seat on the governor's executive clemency advisory board. And my response was, does he know who he's asking? And she laughed and said, yes, Ms. Latif. And I said, well, of course I am. And when I opened up the first group of applications for clemency, the first name on the list was Abron Arrington, Mustafa. And the way I felt that morning is kind of how I'm feeling now. It was surreal. And the governor did grant him clemency, and he returned to us on the 27th of February this year after almost 31 years. He's currently working as a care manager at Second Chance Center and hit the ground running as we knew he would. I'd like to introduce you to someone I can't even find the words to describe. An amazing individual, a lovely human being, and someone I have every confidence is going to really impact the world in a positive way. So allow me to introduce you to Abron Mustafa Arrington.
Thanks, Hassan, for that introduction. My story begins, at least for over the past 30 plus years. In 1989, I was a young airman in the United States Air Force. I was married, I had a daughter. I had just actually got out of the Air Force. I came to Colorado to visit some family and friends and basically prepare for civilian life and to move forward in my life. I was invited to a party by a family friend of mine from Ohio. That's where I'm originally from. And he was living in Colorado Springs at the time. And while at the party, I kept leaving and coming back, going to different places and things like that. And during the course of the night, some of those guys had left and went out supposedly to buy some drugs or something. And during that, a drug dealer was killed. My name came up in investigation. The very next morning, I was arrested. Matter of fact, I was the only person who was initially arrested and charged with first-degree murder. I was charged, I was convicted for a murder that I didn't commit, and I would spend the next 30 years in prison fighting for my life. It was during that time that I actually came in contact with Hassan and Sean for the first time. I met them early on in my incarceration at Lyman Correctional Facility. I famously like to tell people we actually opened up Lyman together. And so I got a chance to know both these guys very well, very, very, very good people, and spent a lot of time with them over the years. And of course, I got to be very good friends. Prison life is something that it could be very monotonous. It could become like a bad episode of Groundhog Day that's broken up infrequently or sometimes frequently by acts of violence, murders, and things like that. And so that was the kind of environment that we found ourselves in. And for me personally, I decided to take it as an opportunity to do some of the things that I had intended to do before my incarceration. Before my incarceration, I actually had studied that whole summer to be an aircraft mechanic. And part of my dream was to possibly get a degree in later on in aeronautical engineering and maybe get a job working for NASA or something like that. That's what I thought about doing. Even though the classes weren't offered to me to be an aircraft mechanic, there's still a lot of things I had interest in, and I decided I was going to use my time. I guess as people say, use your time wisely and constructively. So I decided to do that. Went ahead and I just started ordering textbooks, and I started to break in my day up into blocks or times for me to do certain things that I was very committed to doing. Of course, there was studying, and I would study subjects, and I would do it. I would try to do my best to do it on a college level. I actually would get the college textbooks if I could. I would map out a syllabus. I would study each chapter diligently over like maybe 2-3 weeks sometimes, maybe in a month. And I would do the test quizzes at the back of the chapter and try to do the best I could with what I had. So I studied as much as I could. basically keep my mind sharp, and also because I had that interest. I just had that sheer drive to know and to again to educate myself and to get the education that in a lot of ways was robbed from me, and that I was kept from getting, that I would have got had I not been arrested and wrongfully convicted. The other thing I did is, of course, I affirmed my commitment to my faith. I worked very hard on that, and committed myself to that, and to always trying to work, even under circumstances, to be a better human being, no matter what my environment was. As far as my release, when it came, it was a bit of a surprise. As a matter of fact, it was a large surprise. I mean, even though I know I had, of course, my lawyers had put in a petition for clemency, I knew how slim the odds were that I would get it, and I was realistic. I wasn't one of those guys say, "Oh, I know I'm getting out," or "It's eventually going to happen." I knew that there was a possibility that I could die in prison. Ironically, a year before I was granted my clemency, I was actually moved to the old territorial prison in Colorado, in Canyon City, which is actually a medical prison. It has an infirmary, has a medical unit, and I was reminded of the fact that there's possibly that you can die in prison, because almost on a weekly basis there were people that I was getting word that was over at the infirmary, who I had come to know over the years, who were dying, and some of them also did die over there. That some of the guys who worked over there would tell me that so and so's over there, he says hi, or whatever, and sometimes I find out like maybe about 2 weeks later that the person passed away. So I knew that it was a possibility that I can die in prison. And so it was on December 20th of 2019, 30 years to the month that I got locked up, November 7th, 1989. So I got called to the warden's office. I was at work, and this major, she came, and she said, "Yeah, I'm looking for Mr. Arrington. Is that you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." So they took me over to the warden's office, and she says, "You have to make a phone call, emergency phone call." And I got kind of worried about that, because usually in jail, when they come to ask you to do an emergency phone call, something happened to one of your loved ones or something like that. So I was worried about that. So that's all going through my mind. And then I get into the office, I see the warden sitting there. And I said, well, maybe this is about my clemency. And he asked me, he says, did you file for clemency? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, we have to contact the governor's office. People want to talk to you. And he said, they probably want to just, interview you, ask you some questions and things of that nature. So I thought that's what was going to happen. And so when they made the phone call, the governor's lawyer, of course, she answered, and she started to explain that she greeted me. She started explaining that I had been approved for clemency. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll probably be eligible for parole, and I'll spend some years going up for the parole board. And almost within a second, she shot that down by saying, Mr. Arrington, I want to make something clear to you. You've been granted a rare clemency. She says, so you'll be eligible for parole, yes, as of Monday. This is on a Friday. And she says, and even if you're not granted clemency, you will be released no later than March 1st. And of course, that's when, everybody in the room became emotional, not just me, but even the warden. He was shocked. The major, she just kept saying, her mouth just dropped. She says, I can't believe this. She goes, I know you're shocked, because she goes, I'm shocked right now. And so we talked for a little bit, the governor's lawyer and I thanked her profusely, and asked her to pass that on to the governor, of course. And then we got off the line, and I spent probably about another hour almost really just talking to the warden, and he was couldn't stop congratulating me and everything like that. And so it was a very emotional day. What was really comical about it, and to me and my family, I like to laugh about this, because the whole time I've been incarcerated, there had never been a time where I couldn't reach either my brother or sister, or my father or my mother by phone. Those four people, I can always reach at least one of them by phone if there was something going on. And so I immediately got back. I mean, not immediately, but right after I left the warden's office, I rushed back to the pod, of course, to call my immediate family, which they said I can call them and let them know. And I couldn't reach anybody. And and we laugh about that to this day. I said, yeah, 30 years I've been in prison. I can always reach somebody when something's going on, and in the most important day of my life, basically, I couldn't reach anybody to talk to. And so I was just sitting there in the pod, really just like of course, like lightning in a bottle, just waiting to get out. And so yeah, so that's what happened. You know, I was on my way home, and my family starts making arrangements for that, and and uh, and of course, you know, I had contacted you know, the Second Chance Center, because you know that's what Hassan and Sean had built for years, and had been building up to what it is today, and so I couldn't wait to see these guys when I got out, and when I did, you know, they offered me a job, offered me to work here, and I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get started. I mean, I wanted to start the next day after I got out. You know, they told me to take some time, and I was like, no, I want to get to work right away, and so they basically green-lighted me to come in and start working within a week. And so that's how I came to work here as a care manager. But it was something I definitely wanted to do because, of course, it gave me the opportunity to work with. Of course, I'm working with people who, you know, who I really love and enjoy being around. There are a lot of great people working here, and of course, that's the reason. You know, work environment is one, but also because of, you know, what's done here at the Second Chance Center, and that is helping people, you know, just with successful reentry into society, helping people get out of prison, you know, with whatever they need to be successful and to be productive. And that's something, of course, I feel very strongly about, as well as, you know, everybody in this building, you know, and coming from my experience and things like that over the past 30 years. And it's always good when people come in who you've known. You know, I've come to know a lot of guys over the years, of course. I mean, 30 years of my life. I mean, that's a very, very long time. And so you get guys who come in who you know, and you have an opportunity to help them with whatever it is that they need, again, to help them be successful. The Second Chance Center, I've come to realize since I've been working here, because it's not really just even people who are getting out of prison. That was one of the things that was actually a bit of a surprise to me, not in a negative way, but I just didn't know that you had so many people who actually come in who depend on this place. I mean, you got people who are homeless who come in here. You have people who are dealing with, you know, domestic violence issues, or just, you know, drug issues, or, you know, with addiction and things of that nature, who come in and who, you know, need help and assistance, and we provide that. I'm amazed at just how much really gets done, you know, in this building on every single level. I mean, we got when the doors was open before COVID, I like to joke with some of the people about how some of the clients and even some of the staff about when I first started working here. You know, I bought me a lunch, you know, just like, you know, you expect to do for work, and I came in. And I remember walking to the kitchen area, and they had all this food laid out. It looked like a buffet. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I thought somebody was retiring or leaving or something like that, or throwing a party for somebody's birthday. And I mean, because I think there was a chocolate cake, there was pie, I think there was macaroni and cheese, chicken. I mean, it was so much food. And they also had a breakfast that morning. They had like pancakes, you know, all kind of stuff like that, eggs, and so you know, I thought again somebody was celebrating something. And then the next day, I noticed it was the same thing. And then the next day, the same thing. And so either this person is very important that they're going to celebrate all week, or something else is going on. And I remember Kelly Booker. He tells me, "Oh no, that's just breakfast and lunch. You can go ahead and get that if you want it." And then there's this other stuff that was going on. You know, you have people who are helping people, you know, try to get help with housing and things of that nature. And I was like, oh, I didn't know we did that. It's like a one-stop shop for community service. I mean, it's far more than just reentry, far more involved. There's a whole lot of other things that go on besides just the typical, you know, people just don't really understand how really committed a lot of people are when they get out of prison and not going back. But when you got somebody who's done 10 years, 15, 20 years, 30 years, you know what I mean? They might not understand really how to move or function in society. We have group sessions that help people to do that, you know, to help take the edge off, to help get an understanding about you know, just how to breathe after, you know, almost holding your breath, you know, in prison on the yard for so long. And when I say that, of course, I mean like being so tense and coiled up like a spring or whatever. We help people release that tension, you know, in a constructive way, and so as that they again, can become productive and not go back to prison. And so what we're doing here is something very, very special. And that's actually bore out with the results that we're getting here. And so with that, thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
I'd like to talk to you briefly, if I may, about the Providence at the Heights, which we call PATH. And that's our 50-unit permanent supportive housing development in Aurora, Colorado. For those who haven't seen it or visited it, we're located at 15650 East Alameda Parkway. That's about 3 blocks east of Chambers. This is the first permanent supportive housing development in Colorado, which we built as a low-income housing tax credit project. We started on this quest in 2016, and it met with some resistance, as projects like this want to do. We tried to make it clear to the community that we wanted to be neighbors and not invaders. We made every effort to make that a reality. So we started moving folks in on the 24th of February this year, and housed in 60 hours. We housed 49 adults and 13 children in new homes for folks who had been previously homeless due to recent release from incarceration, a chronic homelessness experience, people with disabilities, mental, physical, or emotional. Providence at the Heights not only provides safe and stable housing for folks, but with the wraparound kinds of supportive services we think actually address the issues that impact folks in a way that causes them to enter in and out of homelessness. We're very proud of PATH and the residents who have stepped up. Even during this time of COVID crisis and challenge, they've managed to build community there at PATH. And the part of it that I'm most proud of, aside from the fact that we were blessed to be a part of people actually being able to come home, is the fact that it represented the reality that Second Chance Center has been a really good, strong steward of resources over the course of our time in existence. Our budget has increased 500-fold in the last 7 years. And the odd thing about that is the more our capacity increases, the more our abilities evolve, the more clients show up and the more need is exposed. So we're always playing catch up. And once again, I just want to emphasize that we would not be able to do this kind of thing and keep pace with this need if it wasn't for the support of our community. So right now, what we're trying to do, and we want to share with you all and bring you into it, is get a new home for Second Chance Center, one that's large enough for us to operate safely for our staff and for our clients. We've been really challenged during these times of COVID, and one of the things that's been hit hardest is our ability to engage with our folks on a personal basis. We're big hugs around Second Chance Center. For us not to be able to put our arms around our folks, it's really been a challenge for us. I've suffered withdrawal symptoms because I'm like a major hugger, and so I look forward to the day when we can do that, bring our folks in close like that. Second Chance Center is an anchor for many of our clients, and during this time, there's been some expected drift on the part of folks accustomed to coming to Second Chance Center every day and maybe having a hot meal and seeing someone that they know cares about them face to face. But we've been doing the best we can to function virtually and remotely and close and safely as possible. But we need more space. We need a bigger accommodation, and we've been blessed to find a new home that we're hoping to close on soon, and a bank that found us to be suitable and worthy of support of a project this size. When it comes to a new home for Second Chance Center, believe me, we didn't see ourselves as being in a position to actually buy a building. I mean, we were looking to lease a space large enough to accommodate our needs. And to be honest, the rates were astronomical. And what we were able to do, and blessed to be able to find our bank willing to back us on this, So we're really excited to be able to own our own home and once again turn to communities. We hope that you and the community that have supported us all this time will continue to do so, and know that every move we make is in an effort to utilize the funding that comes through and to Second Chance Center in the most efficient ways possible. We've always done this and we will continue to do that. And once again, thank you all for your help and everything we've been able to do. God bless you.
Thank you, Hassan, and thank you all for your time today. This has been a wonderful afternoon and time together learning more about the Second Chance Center, the clients we serve, our mission, vision, and impact. Why do I personally believe in Second Chance Center? Let me tell you a quick story. My father, I watched him go through incarceration his entire life. He passed away in 2017, chained to a hospital bed, suffering from mental health, anxiety, and other things that he was not aware of. When I found Second Chance Center, I immediately felt in my heart that if my dad knew of this program, his life would be completely different. For many of our clients here, Second Chance Center is the first time they felt a sense of belonging. Our goal today is to raise $50,000. We need all of your help to do that. Today is Colorado Gives Day. The impact of your support will go further to increase our ability to provide client services, continue to decrease recidivism, provide housing and basic needs, as well as the opportunity to have the space that we need as an organization to increase our reach and serve more clients in a safe way. You can choose to give to our programs, general operations, or to our capital campaign. But please do choose to give. Let's continue to show what difference looks like. Your gift today makes a huge difference. I hope today you've seen the impact Second Chance Center has on our community and the clients that we serve. Make the choice to give. Thank you in advance.